Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Alright, good morning people, and welcome to National Discuss today, being Monday. Of course, it's usually a very busy day for us. Now, while Nigerians are trying to wrap up their activities on Thursday, there came this sudden development in the political front that can reshape the entire map of 2019 election. Now we are talking about the leader of the CNM, Coalition for Nigerian Movement, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, trying to collapse, collapsing his group into a DC. This is what we're going to be looking at today. OBJ's coalition, how it's going to affect democracy, especially in upcoming election next year. Before then, I am Uche Uduma. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll introduce the guest that is here to do justice to this. Please stay tuned.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption.
We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in Hausa Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has another tone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history.
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Alright, so welcome back from that short break, and I have someone with me in the studio, like I said, who is ready to do justice to that topic. I have Mr. Law Mefo.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning. He's a political analyst, and of course, who is ready on standby to deal with the topic we have at hand. Straight on to you, sir. Obasanjo's coalition. First, let's talk about the movement, the CNM. Now, did we expect this in the country? I mean, at a time like this?
Yeah, for me, it was expected. If you listen to the reasons he gave when they came up with the movement, he was looking at PDP and APC as both failures and having not been able to fulfill the expectations of democracy. Excuse me. And he obviously was looking for a third force. And those of us who were following the political trends knew that the movement transforming into a political party was a matter of time. Because obviously, if you are writing off the main two political parties, and you know that you cannot statutorily go into elections in Nigeria with an unregistered association, you have to either collapse your activities under a registered political association, or you transform into a political association. That's just it. So, we saw it coming. And for me, it's even late. And you know why I say so? ADC, the political platform they have chosen, is relatively, weak without serious structures.
Okay.
You know, to win elections in Nigeria, as a matter of fact, in any democracy, you need structures, you know, up to the grassroots, up to the wards. I'm not sure that ADC, you know, has actually spread enough, you know, to register its impressive presence across the wards in the country. It's not an order you just walk into. It's not a walk in the park. It takes time. It takes an average of 2 years to build solid structures with which to win elections. However, I don't think that ADC is the real thing. I think that this is a prelude to a bigger merger coming. The way I say it, they are aware that ADC doesn't have structures. You know, in Nigeria, from experience, since 1999, if you look critically, it's the governors that deliver presidential elections. As of now, I'm not aware that ADC has any elected position anywhere in the country, let alone a governor. They are also, Obasanjo is also aware of this, that there is no way he can use ADC alone to, you know, get into the fray, let alone winning the presidential election. What that means is that this is a prelude. First, as a non-political party, they needed to transit to one. Yes, they have found one. They have bettered. They are now a political party, so to speak. But they still have to go the whole hog. They need to, you know, work on a two-party basis, right? APC and another party.
Okay.
If you want to take this away from APC at the center, what does that mean? What that means is that PDP as the main opposition party in the country today cannot be wished away.
Okay.
It's expected that if, you know, Obasanjo understands what he is doing, if indeed he is sincere, because I have cause not to even believe him fully. You know why?
I was actually coming to
yes, in the military, deception is virtue.
Okay.
So, for, you know, all I care, Obasanjo may actually be playing a spoiler. Okay. You know, to strengthen the APC indirectly by providing a third force to divide, you know, whatever could have been the force at the power of the opposition. Okay. This is not possible.
Okay.
So, and you have only 3 months to resolve all this, because according to INEC timetable, party primaries will be second week of August. Okay. That is less than 2 months, less than 3 months away. What that means is that if the merger eventually comes away, they will have to adopt one of the parties. You know, I don't know whether it's going to be PDP or SDP, okay, but certainly not ADC.
All right,
that's the point I'm making.
All right.
Yes.
Hold on there. You were talking about if you first said you expected the ADC coalition coming up.
And more coalition.
Good. Now, on the pressing of Obasanjo, I will want to quickly read out something here. Now, let's remember again that CNN was formed by 1st of February 2018 after he wrote a letter to Buhari, and I want to read out what he said. He said the membership will be free to collectively decide on whether it will become a political party. And if it decides to transform itself and go into partisan politics, I will cease to be a member.
Deception.
Good. Now, fast forward to today. For us to now wake up and we are hearing about this ADC, I just want to reiterate the fact that, yes, your fear is Nigerians' fear. Now, if Obasanjo could make this comment, so why are you coming up again to push for this?
It means that it's not totally sincere with Nigerians. So my fear is that he may be playing a spoiler's role. If you weaken PDP further as the major opposition, you create a third force. If you create a third force, what that means is that you have 3 major parties in the fray. The incumbency will naturally return. It's very simple. And it can be an achievement by default. He may believe that the underwhelming performance of Buhari may be enough for Nigerians to vote him out. It's not easy to vote out an incumbent government. Let's face reality. All over the world, it's a difficult thing. Yes, I agree that Buhari hasn't quite delivered on his promises. But that is still not enough. You need to have a clear alternative to him. An alternative Nigerians will be looking at. If you look at the scenario, what happened in 2015, Nigerians were seeing Buhari as an alternative to Jonathan.
That's right.
Now, who is the alternative to Buhari?
Okay.
You see where the problem is coming from?
Yes, sir.
So, Nigerians may grudgingly vote the man again since they don't have a credible alternative. That is why I said that if they push the coalition beyond a two-party coalition, then it becomes a waste of time. And it will weaken PDP further because the aggrieved members of APC, aggrieved members of the PDP will just naturally bat in that third force. What that means now is that you have an indirectly strengthened APC. That's what it means.
Okay, now
remember I told you
that
it is the governors that deliver elections in Nigeria at the presidential level. You know why? Even from the primaries, they are the ones in charge of the delegates. In the main elections, is the states, is the governors that will have to marshal out whatever they have to deliver their states. It's not done from Abuja here. So you ask yourself, how many governors, will this ADC have? Or if it eventually, coalesces with the SDP to arrive at either the adoption of SDP, right, or ADC as the ultimate political party with which they will go into the election, the first question they must ask themselves is, how many governors do they have in their kitty? If they have anything less than 10 governors in this, they should forget it.
All right. Now, before the emergence of APC as the ruling party nationwide, of course, them winning the presidential election in 2015, did we have more governors that were from APC?
Yeah.
Coming from the background you're coming
from. You see, many PDP governors worked against PDP. The records are there.
So what makes
I don't want to mention names,
what makes
but many of
that
them,
same thing will not repeat itself again?
Well,
I mean, APC themselves.
You see, if you check the election timetable,
okay,
the governors are in a fix. They can't betray the president because their own election will come in after the presidential election. That's a problem. So, and you notice that the reordering of the election that was attempted by the National Assembly has failed. I'm not sure that they'll be able to succeed with that. If the presidential election comes first, the governors will be compelled to work for the president. That's the truth. That's the way election is in Nigeria. And if you understand these dynamics, you will see that it's a Herculean task, on the part of the opposition to restore power. Because if the presidential election will come before the governorship elections, the governors will have to worry about their own victory. So they may not want the president to return, but there is nothing they can do about it anyway. If that is the scenario, you now need to have enough governors in the opposition who are ready to do battle. The honorable members at the National Assembly, at the state assemblies, they have roles to play, but it will be minimal. We need the governors. And if you form a new coalition, as we still suspect, that will even involve the PDP, because that's what we prescribe.
Sure. The news is already out.
Yes, if they are not able to consummate the merger, there is a problem.
Okay.
Because PDP will come into the fray as the dominant force. So they will certainly be asking for, the bigger pack. That, for example, they may insist on producing the presidential candidate. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or somebody like Obasanjo may not want that. And 3 months may not be enough for you to really get into the negotiations and come away with a healthy opposition. The party, it has to be two-party basis. There is no way APC will lose this election if you have 3 dominant parties into it. It's not going to be possible because you have more governors in the APC that will be blackmailed by the presidency to deliver the president. That's where the problem is. And you see, let me also draw your attention to this.
Okay.
Obasanjo as a person, I'm not sure that Obasanjo will be able to deliver even Ogun State in terms of electoral value.
Why do you say that? Has it lost its value?
Obasanjo, if you remember his first coming in 1999, he didn't even deliver his own word.
But he became the president.
He became the president by the contributions of other zones and not even the contributions of his own zone, which is the Southwest. The facts are there.
But does it really matter if the word contributes or not?
No, it matters. The question now is, his coalition. What do you consider his forte, right? Which zone? Is it the Southwest that we should consider Obasanjo's forte? Do you get my point?
Yes.
Because ADC has no background anywhere. So if we have to use Obasanjo as the yardstick to measure the possibility of the ADC pulling a surprise, we need to understand the number of zones, that Obasanjo will be able to convince to come along. I don't know. I don't know which.
Okay, now
you get the problem?
Yes.
Because the vice president, the incumbent vice president, is from the Southwest. Professor Osibajo is fairly on ground, and I don't see the Southwest throwing away what they have already to move into a blind, chase, a kind of shot in the dark, right? Something that is totally speculative without any foundation. Because if you check the real problems, for you to register a political party in Nigeria now, I don't know what miracle will now make INEC that may be unwilling, for all I care. INEC itself may not even be happy with the alteration of so many things for them. So they may be reluctant to register a new political party between now and August. You get the problem?
Now, are you looking at the fact that for them to thrive on that ADC is not visible?
It's not at all, because they don't have structures.
Good. Now,
right?
The news we have, sir.
Their closest bet as we speak, right? Their closest bet as we speak is to coalesce into SDP. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What if we have a bigger major? Like is already.
That's what I'm saying with PDP.
PDP and
PDP, ADC. Yes. Particularly this ADC and PDP joining forces with SDP.
Now, do you think
because they are not
PDP
likely to come up with a new name.
Okay.
To change, you see, INEC will not allow the merger to assume a new name.
Right.
It has to be registered as a fresh party. That is the law. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you don't have the time to do all this. So what is likely to happen is that they have to adopt one of the parties. PDP as a party, has the structures, it has the spread, it has the manpower, it has foot soldiers, and is controlling about 10 oil states. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they have money. You need PDP to be the main plank, but going by that name PDP may be a problem also. Nigerians are angry.
That's exactly the question.
Yes, Nigerians are bitter with PDP. So PDP may pull a fast one, and assuming giving as a reasonable sacrifice, and assume the new name, the SDP, and they will use the PDP structure, their money, their manpower, their foot soldiers, their experience, right? If that happens, then there is fire on the mountain for APC. I tell you. You know why? You need experience, you need spread, you need money. These are major factors. In fact, these are the main three deciding factors in any election. That's why I keep talking about governors. From all indications, there may be one or two governors coming into the coalition, right? If their own conditions will be met, someone like Tambua may not mind a new coalition if they can adopt him as their presidential candidate. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
So that is a very strong possibility. They may prefer to go with a serving governor than settle for somebody like Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso is very popular in the Northwest. I am not sure of his popularity beyond the Northwest. And in the South, he's not that popular. Tambua is a more sellable candidate because of his, he played at the center as speaker, made a lot of contacts then, and he is an easygoing person. He's somebody, like the way Nigeria is now, whoever carves, the image of, an extremist in any way, religious, political, you're not likely to be a sellable candidate because zones outside your own zone may not be comfortable with you.
Well, that was what played out in 2015 during the election.
Yeah.
We all know then, I don't know for now, our current president now was a religious extremist.
Yes, he played to his favor.
Do you understand? But it worked for him.
It worked for him. I'll tell you why it worked for him. You see, Jonathan lost on protest. Nigerians voted against Jonathan out of protest. Not even many of them, because if you check, separating Buhari and Jonathan, it's less than 3 million votes. Kanu delivered almost 2 million. Kanu was under Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso left PDP. If Jonathan, was politician enough, I don't know who was advising Jonathan. He shouldn't have called the bluff of the new PDP. You understand what I'm saying? And the APC is about repeating the same mistake. APC, they have already issued an ultimatum. The new PDP that left the old PDP to join forces with APC as one of the legacy parties, they have issued a warning that they are being marginalized and they are considering exit. If they make good their threat, it's a repeat of history. It will become a repeat of what PDP did by calling the bluff of the same group. If they return to the new coalition and they meet with the old PDP there, this is a mega force coming together. Because if you check with all the protests, with all the hula baloo, the number of votes that separated Buhari and Jonathan was less than 3 million, right? It can be cancelled in 2 states. It can be cancelled just between Kano and Jigawa. Do you understand what I'm saying? Between Kano and Rivers. So it depends on where such coalition, will be facing. You remember we started from with Obasanjo. Obasanjo, like I said, my fear is that he may just be out to spoil. And by default, APC returns. I don't care who returns. What I want is good governance. I'm not a politician.
Okay,
right?
Now, hold on, sir, please. Talking about good governance,
yes.
I'd want to, and of course, Obasanjo's interest in Nigerian leadership. Now, I'd want to take us down through some historical antecedents.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in 1999, we saw Obasanjo coming in after he has ruled as a military, head of state. He came into a democratic dispensation, and he ruled from 1999 to 2006. Good. Now, he attempted coming back for a third tenure.
Yeah,
but
in
for
2007
laws,
really. Yeah.
Yes, but for our laws that are very stringent on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from there, we saw him publicly tearing off the PDP membership card, where he said he accused Jonathan's government of being corrupt and all that. Good. Now, he supported, before then, he saw and he helped with the emergence of Jonathan.
He did?
Good.
Yeah.
Now, indirectly, that happened again in 2015. He wasn't really there, but he helped. He supported Buhari coming in.
He did.
Good. Now, after Buhari coming in, we saw him writing some letters, 13 pages later, that he normally writes to every current or sitting president. Good. He wrote the way out to Buhari, what he's not doing properly, and what he should do, and what he should not do. Now, from there, he now formed his political pressure group, according to him then, and then now he's coming to coalesce with APC, ADC. Now,
ADC, yes.
My question right now is, what is really the interest of Obasanjo to Nigerian leadership?
Vested interests. It's not the a passive interest. It's deep. He is coming from the military establishment, right? And he's one of the officers that fought the Nigeria Civil War. Nigeria Civil War was a military operation. When the military engages in any operation, right?
Yes, sir.
If they win, they take whatever they can as booty, right? The rest, if they, things they can't take away, they do what we call scorched earth, right? They destroy. Okay? The military took the leadership of Nigeria as booty. Do you understand that? They believe that they pull the country back from precipice, and as such, it is for them to guide it. And that's what they have been doing up till this moment. The coming of Obasanjo is in line with that, because he came in because he was to help preserve the country, right? You preserve the country, that's the idea, a unitary system.
That is what he's thinking.
That's his thing. He's not alone. Is
it the mindset of
listen to me. Listen, Obasanjo is not working alone. Like in 2015, we told some, observers that Obasanjo was a main spokesperson for the retired generals. This is what is playing out again. And it's obvious that he's not alone. And generals we are talking about here are not small generals. IBB, Guzo, Absalami, these are the people that believe they own Nigeria.
Don't we think this is dangerous to democracy?
We are not practicing democracy. People keep surprising me when they talk about democracy. There's no democracy in Nigeria.
But that what you have is embedded in the constitution. You're supposed to be practicing.
Well, your claim is one thing, your practice is another.
Sure.
What you're running is not democracy. You cannot have democracy unless certain aspects, certain rudiments, certain fundamentals, certain basics of democracy are in place. They are not in place.
Are you alleging that the rule of law have been suspended or something?
You don't have rule of law. For you to have rule of law in any country, in any clime, right? First you start observing, court judgments. How many court judgments in Nigeria have been observed in breach by the present government?
Whose responsibility is it to ensure that they actually follow
the president?
The tenets?
The president of the country. He is the one that determines whether or not there will be. Right? For example, President Buhari came to power on two major premises. One is to restore security and fight corruption. These were the two major promises, and of course, to do something about the economy became the third. Right? Now, if you objectively weigh the performance of the president against these three, paradigm, you will agree with me that he hasn't scored 50 on any.
That's the opinion.
No, it's not my opinion. It can be verified. I'll give you an example. The Boko Haram. Boko Haram may have been de-escalated. It may have been de-accelerated. Here, it may have been downgraded. Okay? We can give all that, but certainly not defeated.
Sure.
Even United Nations said so a few days ago, that Boko Haram is alive and well. They are still holding swaths of Nigerian territory. They are holding substantial part of Zambeza forest.
Now we have Boko Haram, we have
Fulani
headsmen.
That's what I'm saying. That what you have gained in the fight against Boko Haram,
terrorism,
you have lost in the promotion of headsmen terrorism. If you check the global terrorism index, headsmen have been adjudged by the world, as the fourth most brutal group. Do you understand that? So Nigeria is housing to Boko Haram and headsmen. And headsmen gained fresh apogee under this current administration. That's the point I'm making. So on that, even if you were to score him high on Boko Haram fight, how do you score him judging what has happened with the headsmen? Now, coming up at Tuesday, a week after tomorrow, Nigerian Catholics all over Nigeria will be protesting. The world will be watching us. What will they be protesting? The killings. Do you understand that?
But there have been protest after protest about
this will be different, because when you see a protest, if you have a protest in Abuja here led by someone like Cardinal Onaikom, CNN will be interested. The world will be watching that.
So, are you saying the reason why our protests have not seen the light of day is because of who leads the protest?
Yes.
Or who is behind the protest?
Sure. If the protest is not it's not galvanized, it's not if it's not galvanized properly, people will not be interested. They will see it as maybe, because the issue of renting of crowds in Nigeria. Crowds are rented in Nigeria. Are you not aware of that?
All right.
So people will be worrying about that. Nobody will see an icon on the street and say it's rented.
All right, please hold on. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the discussion. Please stay with us. welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government, say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from a Nosen or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on
All right, so we'll come back from that short break. You can actually call us on our line that'll be hitting the screen very, very soon. And then we'll have a guest that will do justice to your questions. And of course, we'll be so glad to take in your contributions. So, sir, before we went for that break, we were talking about how your own evaluation of what our president have done as regards security.
Yeah, it's below 50%. And I've given my reason. Then on the fight against corruption, you can see the way the whole thing is going. See, you do not politicize national security. Fight against corruption borders on national security. You should have been fought on non-partisan basis. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, as we speak, we are getting names, a list. We have seen some names
Sorry, sir.
of the people they say there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, good morning to you. Please, what's your name and where you are calling from? Pastor Ezekiel from Edo State. Okay, sir. Please, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I'm listening to your program, and I heard what the barrister was saying. And the main issue is, if we are blaming one person in this country, we are making the wrong mistake. Because this country needs God. No matter how you put a saint in that position, a pastor in that position, there is no way, or you put as the other people in that position, there is no way they can fight against this Boko Haram or these things. And what the Nigerians need is prayer. It's not that Buhari or these things, or we are telling people that Obasanjo was here, they want to contest for another tenure. But now we are the same people today saying what Buhari is not doing well. But the Obasanjo was the one that told us Buhari will do the best. Okay, today is writing another amount that we should remove Buhari. Buhari should not go. There is no way. No matter you put any person, now you get the former president to go and contest again in that position. If you look, we are talking about the economy of those things. If you look what happened before the barbarian that was the so barbarian before, and you are talking about now, you will see a big difference. There is no way any person can manage that money. And Nigeria is depending on oil. When it's oil, the money will come from. When we are talking about the former president order, we had that oil was 240 per barrel. But now when President Buhari enters, how much are they selling the oil? It's because of Buhari today, everybody can now know that farm is important. Everybody next now going back to farm. Without this, there is no perfect somebody on this earth. But we should pray for this man. Because there is no one that can handle it. All these things everybody is saying is politics. We should face the reality of this matter of this country.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ezekiel.
Well, I get his point. I get his point. You see, first and foremost, yes, oil sold for more under Jonathan, But what was the exchange rate? If you check the exchange rate, then less than 200. Now exchange rate is for the same dollar, 300 and something. What does that tell you? Whatever you gained then, do you understand what I'm saying? You have also gained here now, based on the doubled exchange rate.
So, are you saying based on the economy?
Yes. What I'm saying is what I'm saying is that the value of the dollars, earned by Buhari is higher than the value of the dollars earned by Jonathan. So you may think that Jonathan earned more money, but if you really look at it, you discover that the difference is not much. So we expect. I don't think that the problem President Buhari has is money. He has enough money, and he's been borrowing also. So the issue is not money. The issue is governance, right? At a point, I was so afraid that he may have even lost control completely. He told us he went to Benue. He told the IG of police to report to Benue. The man didn't go. So what happened? National Assembly was invaded the other day. What happened? Strange things are happening in Nigeria. Things that don't happen ordinarily. And for such to happen, you expect a reciprocal response from the leadership. And the apex leadership of Nigeria is mounted by Buhari himself. So he has to wake up to his responsibilities. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And where it comes to national security, you remove party politics. Where it comes to fight against corruption, you remove party politics. We told him when he came in, so look, form fast-track courts to face corruption and corruption alone. They didn't do that. Even the legal framework to fight corruption, you don't have enough of it.
All right, sorry.
And,
hold on there. Hello, good morning. Sorry? I didn't get you very well. You're calling from Sokoto State. Please, what's your name? I didn't get that. Okay, right. You can continue with your contribution or your question, sir.
My contribution is this morning, first of all of us said that this country does not belong to any political zone or any language or any tribal or any religion. Let us know that this country belongs to us. If you go to my village here, I'm from many states. You don't have local government. Then, we are African, in Congress, and the to talk about everything we have that we call government and Christ and God. Because no matter how accurate we are, if you come to my state and see how people are African by the health care, you will cry. Even the devil will shake you. So, the simple thing that the president is about what is of this country will not say anything about it. Come to the amount of them or regional outcomes. If you have a president that can be for all the jobs, not for then That's my contribution.
All right, thank you very much. I hope Sokoto is safe for you today.
So,
okay.
The point is there, whether we like it or not, things are not sitting well for everybody, right? It's not like I told you, I'm not a politician. I just want good governance. And I believe that Buhari, though trying, needs to do much more, right? And I've identified the areas where he has to really concentrate. We need to do something about national security. The national security is in shambles. Everybody can see it. That is why, across board, many groups are calling for the service chiefs to go. These are not ordinary times. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not just National Assembly now. There are other groups now calling that are non-governmental organizations. It's because of the science in the system. The polity is squeaky. It's not sitting well. And in absence of security, you cannot talk about national development. Peace is the foundation of any form of development, even in your family. So we need to get down to drawing board. Do you understand what I'm saying? And now we are in election year. In the next couple of months, presidential campaign will start around the country. Amidst this level of insecurity, look at what has happened in Benue. Look at what is going on in Plateau, Taraba, Adamawa, just across board. In fact, the flash points, the fault lines in Nigeria are spreading. The military presence, for you to know where you have a fault line, right, is determined by the military presence. The number of states today with open physical military operations is more than 25. What does that tell you? It tells you that the system is suffering serious threats. That's what we are talking about.
Now,
I didn't deploy those military. The government did, and they did so in response, to certain things that are occurring in the polity.
Now, at this point, we're having this breakdown. I really don't want to say of law and order. We are talking about security, and I want to draw your attention to a few points. You mentioned one, when the president actually ordered the IG to relocate to Benue State, and we didn't see that happen. And then going back to the Senate, having to summon the IG, and
he refused
for the
to go.
Time, he refused to go. And we know constitutionally, he is only the president that has the power to say do this. Now, the Constitution gave the Senate the right to, invite or summon, but did not clearly give them the right to punish. So at this point, they are supposed to report.
They are not calling the IG to punish him.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying, by the time you are summoned as an IG, you refuse to come. There is no
constitutional provision
for anything. Well, they are supposed to report back to the president.
Who should report back to the president?
Looking at this indices,
see, the president of the Senate and the speaker, and I think the Senate leader went to see the president on this matter. For me, it was a blunder.
Why do you think
the Senate is an arm of the National Assembly, is an arm of government?
Good, but
listen, is an arm of the Constitution does not say they have to report to the president.
The Constitution says that the IG report directly to the president.
Yes.
Good.
He reports directly to the president. So the other governmental appointees, the MDAs, ministers,
at the point he was summoned, and he never showed up for the third time. What do you think?
If he has to report, if the IGP has to report only to the president, why does he go to National Assembly to defend the police budget? See, I've listened to some lawyers, so-called senior advocates of Nigeria, defending this. We are crippling the democracy itself. It's not about Saraki. It's not about Dogara. It's the institution. We need to get worried that the institution of a whole arm, see, the quintessence of presidential democracy is built on the separation of powers.
Good.
The principles of separation of powers, if you don't observe it, you are not into democracy, you're not practicing democracy. Because it means that you are deliberately weakening an arm. You want the National Assembly to be ineffectual. You want the National Assembly to be ineffective. You want to make it a butt of nasty jokes amongst the people. Who do you think will ultimately suffer it? Democracy. As you're doing so, you're promoting autocracy. You are now allowing the president to run a one-man show. It means, for example, he paid for the Tokono, fighter jets in the US, $400 and something million without appropriation. In itself is an impeachable offense. But because the National Assembly has become so ineffectual, he can go on ahead and do such things. That is not good for our democracy. That's the point here. So nobody should be looking at it as a Saraki issue. Saraki will go one day, Abi. The National Assembly will remain unless we no longer have democracy in Nigeria. Now, but you are now laying a mine against even the upcoming National Assembly.
Sorry. Can we pick this call now? Sorry. Hello, good morning to you. Yes, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, I'm John from Damboa.
John from where?
Damboa.
Okay.
Damboa.
All right, please go ahead.
Yeah, please, the IG of police, you should know how he came to power. Was he not the man in charge of Kano State during the 2016 general election? The man, before becoming an IG, other DIGs, other senior police officers have to go because of him. We're all aware of that. The same man who promised us that he is going to fish out the murderers of the red returning officer in the Kano State that was killed in cold blood. Up to now, we've not seen anything from him, we've not heard from him. We all know how he came to power. So why would he respect National Assembly?
That's it. his point. You know.
The potential of the president is supporting him. They should go out. We all will wishing the strong in order for the weak to survive. But one day we will also change. So I don't like what is happening in this country, but I have nothing to say for now. I rest my case. The IG is simply respecting the identity called Nigeria. Those senators are politically voting in. They are representing their people. But the IG is not answerable to them. Who is he answerable to them? Check and balance the details in this.
His point is well scored, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Also, the IG, I read the reason why he didn't go to National Assembly. They are very weak defenses. The IG should have gone to National Assembly and draw their attention to, say, look, this matter, we can't discuss this one, it's up to this. We can't discuss this one. But you must have shown respect to that institution. You understand what I'm saying? You must have shown commitment to democracy. One thing, the IG has forgotten is that the first casualty of any military process or autocracy is the Nigerian police. Go and check the records. That the first casualty consigned, to background. That's it. And that is why the Nigerian police is underdeveloped, under-equipped, under-trained, undermanned, underpaid. Because over the years, they've not been really taken care of. Now, rather than run to National Assembly to come to your aid, now that we have democracy, you are the one distancing yourself from them. They are the ones to reject the Nigerian police. Nigerian police should be the number one defender of democracy. The IG is the number one law officer of Nigeria, law enforcement officer. He should lead by example. He should have gone to National Assembly and said, look, we can't discuss this aspect because this aspect is in court. This one, however, we can discuss. Or you can be circumspect with your responses, that you can't give detailed response. It shows civility. It shows commitment. It shows, I don't know how to describe what has just happened. Do you know the National Assembly has a whole divisional police command manned by a DPO. The office of the DPO and the entrance of the Senate is less than a stone throw. And some brigands entered the National Assembly plenary and went away with the mace, and the police did nothing. It's very dangerous signal. If the police did not like what happened, you understand what I'm saying? If you know the way the National Assembly security is organized, you may initiate such a move, but you can't complete it, because it's just a radio call away, and all the gates to and from National Assembly will be shut down.
So are you alleging connivance?
Even if they did not connive, they looked the other way. They could have stopped what happened, and I've just told you that the DPO's door is next door to the Senate chambers door. You can visit National. I'm sure you have been to National. Yeah, go take a look. Ask them where's the DPO's office. Yet he was there, and this happened. He has his men there. We have SSS. Even the army has a liaison in the National Assembly, but they are not the ones to act. It's the police that should have acted. They refuse to act. The sergeant at arms, the internal security of the National Assembly, are incapacitated. They are not in a position to do much. You saw what happened to the lady that tried to stop one of the attackers. She was flung down, and she had to roll around the steps and stuff. She could have broken her neck. Now that happened. Okay, assuming it was just a mere security lapse, have you heard that the IG queried the DPO of the National Assembly? For you to show concern for this kind of a thing, such security breakdown, the IG should have redeployed all the police officers in the National Assembly. He didn't. Which means, even if his men did not give them the leeway to do what they did, he doesn't care. I am saying that the IG should care. IG should be the number one defender of democracy. Police is the main beneficiary of democracy, not the military. And because they are not properly equipped and all that. That is why you have military presence in over 26 states in the country doing police duty. He should be worried about such development. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look at what happened, the girls that were taken away. One of the girls is still there, Leah Shaibu is still, in Boko Haram night. Now you are also aware that over, about 100, triple girls are still with Boko Haram. 3 years and counting, right? 3 years and counting. In fact, it should be going to about 4 years now, right?
That was 2014.
Yes. Yes, so it's going to 14 years, to 4 years, if not 4 years already. Now, doesn't that tell you that these girls are being kept somewhere that is secure for those who are holding them? That is an evidence. That's a proof, for my claim that Boko Haram is still holding territory in Nigeria. Yes, because they're not living in the air; they are living on ground.
Now,
if you remember, 1 minute, okay. If you remember, many of the operations, when they said they had a ceasefire to return the girls, they came in a long convoy of all manner of vehicles, right? Open tankers, this counter vehicle of used by police, Hilux vans. Do you understand that? They came, numbering over 100. They came, dropped the girls, and went back the way they came. The villagers hailing them, hailing the Boko Haram. We are here glamorizing evil, celebrating evil. Why will you not celebrate Boko Haram? If you make friends with them, you have peace. Is it not true? Have you asked yourself why the national lawmakers from the Boko Haram ravage, they still go home? It's simple. You be in their good books. If you are in their good books, that is what we call the political dimensions of Boko Haram insurgency. They cannot say they don't. They were, before they went underground, they were known. They were part of. In fact, at the point before the death of Mohammed Yusuf, their first or second leader, they were an open sect, preaching everywhere in Maiduguri and Bauchi. So when they were driven underground, they still had their friends in this era of GSM and all that. So they have ways. Look at this. There's this one they call Mama Boko Haram now.
Yeah, that has been so confusing.
Good. You heard what she said?
Yeah.
So they have always known these boys.
Now, the question most people are asking is, why will this woman not be arrested?
The woman?
Yes.
For having friends of Boko Haram?
Now,
why will she be arrested?
Now, he is the one at the middle negotiating between the federal government.
Yes.
And these people, she knows them.
Yes, she knows.
There to get them.
Do you say that the military doesn't know where Zambeza Forest is? They know where they are.
Does it mean we are not ready to defeat Boko Haram? Is it a clear indication that we're not ready at all?
I am afraid, yes. I have cause to believe that we don't really want to defeat Boko Haram. I don't know why I have that feeling. I read the Sahara reporters at a point. It's political. It's all political. We have two factions of Boko Haram now. One is led by Al-Badwin, something like that. The other is led by Shekau. What the difference between them is the killing of Muslims, right? One arm is against the killing of Muslims for any reason. Shekau believes anybody that does not agree with the sect should be killed, that you're an infidel, right? That's the thin dividing line. But the question is, I have a feeling that the other faction of Boko Haram may have been promoted. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Our time.
Yes, they may have been promoted, and the promotion, I believe, may still be going on.
Okay.
Yes.
Our time is actually fast spent, and I want us to have a route to the topic we are talking about, in as much as you had to touch other lines of it. Now, looking at this coalition, what is your last take on what is going to be like the effect on coming elections next year? I
am an apostle of two-party system, right? I can do anything to bring, two-party system to bear on Nigerian politics. That's how I believe we can have pure democracy and unity of the country, because the zones will be compelled to work together, right? That said, the coalition, if they want to have a fair chance in this election, must not go beyond two-party system. APC and the coalition. If they want to splinter further, they will downgrade their own capacity to the point that APC will have an easy return to power. It may not be an achievement by design, it can be an achievement by default. Through their own greed, not being interested in national interest, but how to grab power and keep power and stuff like that. APC tried that in 2015 and succeeded. Today, Nigerians are wiser. Propaganda will not work much for both opposition and the ruling party. Buhari will have to run on convincing Nigerians that he did enough to merit a return. Otherwise, he may have to rig his way back to power. That's the truth. He may have to rig his way back to power. And in Africa, rigging is almost normal. So I don't expect that the 2019 election will be free and fair. But of course it cannot be free and fair. Has an election ever been free and fair in Nigeria? The 2015 election wasn't free and fair.
That's a very serious one, sir.
It is not. The facts are there. Kano, for example,
yes, sir.
Kano election, where you have, nearly 2 million votes, none was voided. So in Nigeria,
we would have to run for
come on,
because our time is up.
Yeah.
I would be glad to have you again to deal decisively with this topic.
I know we didn't the pleasure is mine.
Thank you very much. I know we didn't exhaust everything.
We are there for you.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank
coming.
You.
And I'm sure we actually enjoyed this topic. You can watch a repeat of this program on NCTV by 9 p.m. on weekdays. That's from Monday to Friday. And you can tune in at this time, 9 a.m. for fresh episodes. I've been in the studio with Dr. Law Mefo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And of course, it's been me, Uche Uduma, signing out on National Discourse. We'll see you same time tomorrow for another interesting episode or package. Stay tuned.